having a lot of conversations with officers making the transition into a civilian career recently. And one of the main thing that's coming up time and time again is a feeling of imposter syndrome. Now, of course, it's not necessarily being labelled that by the officers and the ex-officers that I'm speaking to, but it certainly seems to be the case with most of the people that I'm speaking to on a daily basis, that there's an element of doubt about their ability. And I think it's been really interesting getting people in the community to firstly identify that feeling and then navigate how to overcome it, because it is doable. It's all about understanding where people's skill set lie, but it's been noticeable that kind of over the past couple of weeks seems to be one of the main things cropping up time and time again. Is this something that you struggled with? I mean, you've been out 10 years now, but do you remember that feeling?
Yeah, I definitely do. As you say, I didn't kind of know that's what it was. I didn't know it was imposter syndrome, but I left the police and I felt I kind of knew exactly what I was doing. I'd done quite well in the police and still enjoyed it. And then I went into a whole different industry. And I thought, oh, well, everyone here seems to have been here for ages. And I don't know. I was worried that what I was feeling was not, I was thinking, well, why have I kind of lost a little bit of confidence? I feel like maybe I'm not going to be able to offer anything. Obviously, that's changed, and that wasn't the case at all. But yeah, I do remember that feeling, and it really being quite overwhelming because you're in this different industry that you feel like everyone knows so well. So yeah, I do recognise it for sure. Is that sort of how it's playing out when you're talking to people, Tom?
Yeah, absolutely. It's playing out in a couple of different ways. It's playing out early on as part of our community's conversations, so people have that feeling, and that's maybe casting a doubt in the types of roles that they're applying for. It's having an impact as they go through to interview process, but it's also having an impact as they get their role. Can I do this, and can I actually deliver what I've said I can deliver in part of that interview process? So it's a huge thing that needs addressing, and it needs addressing at the start when people leave, because that's when it starts playing out. And if unaddressed, I think it can play out right through to people to start. And it can sometimes takes time for people to get through the door in a role, get comfortable, and start delivering, to start seeing. But actually, no, I can do this. I've given however long in the police, and I think that the issue is getting people to understand the value of what they've done. I think most people almost take for granted the work that they've done, but there's so much value in officers' work, whatever that may be. So yeah, it's playing out in a lot of different ways, and it's playing out early on when they leave. Right, what can I do? Right through to interview process, and of course that then has an impact on the success of interviews as well. And then it also plays out as they get the role. Can I deliver what I've said I can deliver? Which it sounds as though is similar to what you've said. Um, any advice? I mean, you've navigated it yourself, so any advice to help overcome these feelings?
Firstly, what I would say is a lot of our community have talked about that. They feel exactly what you're just describing. So it's a really common thing. I suppose the advice I would give is kind of spend that time reflecting on what you've done, what your skill sets are, and it's much more than you realise. So I think that's my main thing, kind of that time spent looking at exactly what you can do and what you can offer.
Mm, absolutely. And I think to add to that, it's very easy to be put off by corporate lingo when you start looking at the job market, and you then start to devalue what you've done. So it is about framing what you've done in a corporate way and framing yourself as an expert in that area, because you've essentially done what the job spec says. You've just used different lingo, and it's in a slightly different world, but it's very transferable. And don't underestimate that just because things are written in a certain way. So they're the main points that I would say. But we wanted just to kind of chuck a few ideas and points up, because it seems to be one of the main areas that people are struggling with at the moment. So any other comments, or if you're struggling with that feeling of imposter syndrome, as I would call it, shoot either of a message, and we're happy to kind of bounce some ideas your way that might help.